Or you could say balancing expands an intelligent entity eternally. You could say it that way. Or an eternal being, how about the other way? An eternal being expands and balances. See? What about number 3? Now everyone comes up with something else on this number 3. Any ideas? Don't be afraid. Kind of close. What is a frequency in time? What does that mean? What is another term that you can use for that? You're going to be so surprised when you hear it. I guess you want me to tell you, don't you? That symbol here on the bottom is the archetype symbol for time travel. So we can read this by saying, time travel expands the awareness or consciousness of human beings. Or human beings' awareness is expanded through time travel. Now what if I had this symbol in green? What would that mean? Past. So this would be time travel to the past, or simply past time. For example, if you're telling a story in archetype, and you're telling someone that this happened a long time ago, you would just use this symbol in a darker green. The darker the green, the further into the past. The darker the blue, the further into the future. Now someone mentioned the difference between violet and purple. I told you what violet is. And purple has several other meanings. Purple represents deep space travel. Also represents royalty. And physically, if you put purple through your veins and arteries, it removes plaque and cholesterol. So it has a lot of healing purposes to purple. Any questions on how to translate archetype sentences? What do you think your dreams are? When you dream, what do you think happens? Yes, you dream in symbols. What kind of symbols? Of course, it does depend on your depth of dreaming, the state of dreaming, if it's a real deep sleep or a light sleep. When you dream, depending on how deep you go into other realities, many people simply go into the astral level. Remember that the astral level is a borderline area between the physical and hyperspace. It's the boundary. It's the boundary. And so, it's a lot of physicality involved with it. So you can think of something and it materializes energetically, but looks physical, but it isn't. Beyond that is the hyperspace level, which is where you go in deep sleep. And in hyperspace, there is instant communication and transmission of pure energy. Just instant. And it's in archetype and color and tone.
I have a question with that. When I sleep, I go into such a deep sleep anymore that I've had a dog, a dog run across my body and never woke me. And I mean, I've had instances where I should have been awoken and I never
Very deep sleep, yeah.
That's going into
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because when that happens, because I've always been psychic as a kid, and I used to dream, my life as it was going on, but lately, since I've gotten into this, I'll go into these sleeps, and I generally won't come back with any dreams that I can remember.
You always dream, but not always remember them.
But I don't always remember. I mean, the second I wake up, I'd be tired too.
When you don't remember your dream, it's because the message in there isn't for your conscious mind. It's for the subconscious mind pattern. But what happens when you go into hyperspace dreaming? And you're dreaming or experiencing literally in symbol, color, and tone. Then when you come back to your body, because you do leave your body when you go to sleep, when you come back, your left brain says, does not compute. I have no reference point for this symbol stuff. What is it? Because the right brain's coming in with all this symbol, and the left brain says, what the heck is that? So what happens? The pineal gland kicks in and says, I will be the liaison, the translator. So the pineal gland puts pictograms over the archetype and strings them together like a story that you can consciously remember. So if you dream you were on a lake and you saw a tree, well, maybe you would also dreaming about a T-bar and a circle, but your left brain said, I don't understand that, so your pineal gland made this into a lake and put birds and flowers and things on the tree, or it might have made this into a pyramid, which could have been this might have been a house in your dream. You understand? DNA symbol very often appears as a railroad track or a ladder. Okay? These are all the symbols that's why you need to write down all of the dreams that you possibly can remember and then translate them so that you can see the message you're getting either from your genetic code or from your own mind pattern. Now, normally, a person sleeps 7 or 8 hours a night. That's a normal range. If you extrapolate that into a lifetime, and in the United States, an average lifetime is 75 years, so a third of your day that you're sleeping, extrapolated to a lifetime means you were sleeping 25 years. A quarter of a century, you are asleep. That's a very long time to not know what's going on in your life. A third of your life, you don't know what's going on. And you're conditioned when you're a little child and you have a dream or a nightmare and you tell someone, oh, it's just a dream. Don't worry about it. Don't pay attention to your dreams. They're just dreams. But they're extremely important because the life you live in your dream state is just as valid as your waking state. It's just that the rules and regulations are different, but they're just as valid. You are an entity, a conscious entity in all those realities. It's very important that you write them down. Very often in the dream state, you get communication from those who have passed on because it's easy to access you. And you may also get, very commonly, information and communication from an alternate self of you. Which, after we're going to take lunch in a few minutes, but after that, remind me to talk to you about your alternate existences that bleed through during your dream state, because you're able to then see the whole carpet instead of just a little piece. So that's what dreaming is all about. So we're going to take a break now. We're going to go to lunch and try to keep it to an hour or so. And then we'll come back and resume the rest of what we're doing for today. Any questions before we go lunch? On anything we've covered so far? No? So when you get a test, you're going to pass the test?
Oh, no, great, you're going to give us a test.
Well, I'll put, just see if you're paying attention. All right, so have a good lunch, and when you come back, we'll go over the rest. Just so that you know, if when I'm not here, or if you want to look around behind the black curtain, behind curtain number 1, are all the books and tapes that unfortunately had to get covered up for the backdrop. But please feel free to look at them; they're available for you. Okay.